going on, everybody? Welcome into a special field trip edition of the Daily Energy News Beat Stand-Up here on this gorgeous Thursday, March 27th, 2025. As always, I am Michael Tanner, joined by Stuart Turley. Man, this is fun. We're out in the field.
Oh, we are out in the field, and only in Texas will you see this much wind, completed oil wells.
Yep.
We've got our drilling rig right over here, Michael, and we got 3 more wells we're drilling.
Yep, we're punching 3 more holes. You know, Stu's got his cowboy hat on. We truly are attempting to become Billy Bob Thornton. But we have a great show for you lined up. Let's quickly run through the headlines. First up, TotalEnergies CEO not ruling out return of Nord Stream gas pipelines. Watch out for those Ukrainian seals. We will then quickly cover climate crusade crumbles as public skepticism grows. I will then jump in and quickly cover what happened. Oil prices kind of all over the place today. We saw EIA crude oil inventories come in slightly less than expected, or according to the API crude oil inventory. So we will cover all that in a bag of chips here on this field trip edition. But Stu, I'm going to hand you the phone we got. Shout out to Starlink for making this all possible. Thank you, Elon Musk. We're getting 300 megabytes here in the middle of nowhere. So we love our Starlink.
Oh, we got to love Starlink. Hey, you know what? When you sit back and think about TotalEnergies, they are really pushing for Nord Stream to come back online. Why? Because if you don't have cheap natural gas, you have deindustrialization, and Germany needs it. I saw this headline and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. You sit back, the CEO believes parts of the Nord Stream pipelines can return to operation to Europe's needs. There were people out there all over X going, nope.
Well, I think what's interesting here is, you know, this is really in contradiction with what other European NATO countries are talking about. Germany says it's not coming back. Estonia is not saying that. You know, there's other LNG sources they're looking at. What's funny is Trump talked about this all the way back in 2016 about weaning themselves off, and it took an explosion of the Nord Stream to finally figure it out.
Yes. But here's the difference, though. What's the price difference between cheap Russian gas coming in on a pipeline versus LNG? You're talking about $14.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, baby.
Yeah. Here's this quote from Patrick Poyan. He's the CEO. Quote, I would not be surprised if 2 out of the 4 came back to stream, not 4 out of 4. So at least 2 will come back.
Possibly. Now, here's the catch. The only manufacturer to the Nord Stream system are Canadian turbines, and Russia removed all 6 that were still available.
So, you know, what they talk about also in this article is how the bringing on Nord Stream 2, which was never brought online officially, could be part of the negotiations of the ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Where do you see that?
I see that as a big play because when you take a look at, I did not have on my bingo card President Trump talking about taking a Russian nuclear plant, the largest in Europe, in Ukraine, and having the U.S. go ahead and manage it. And Michael, our great Secretary of Energy, you know what he said?
What'd he say?
You bet, President Trump. Yeah. I'm in.
Absolutely. All right, what's the next one here?
Okay. Climate crusades crumbles as public skepticism grows. The climate movement is collapsing as policies unravel. Our friend Stephen Hayward of the late great Powerline blog, University professor and inclusive thinker, the nadir of the climate movement. I'll tell you what, this is a great article. It's possible that the Trump administration is going to deal death blows in the long-time climate change. And it's all coming down to the regulatory game, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with this new administration, we're seeing a lot less crazy, you know, the war on fossil fuels per se. We covered last week, last week it was coal plants coming back online. Right. Trump's making a big push for that. And again, it all comes back to this idea of making energy competitive. The market, you're getting blown away there. The market is going to figure out a solution. Okay.
Exactly.
And it's making it do that. You know, I think there's some interesting, we've also noted that the litigation is slightly slowing. I love this quote here. Are politicians looking for another grift? Maybe. And they always are. Yep. You know, well, they're interested in money. That's no doubt what they're interested in.
Yep. They're worse than a chihuahua looking for a new snack.
Yikes. Well, all right, let's go ahead and jump over into finance, guys. But before we do that, we got to quickly pay the bills. As always, thank you for checking us out here on the world's greatest website, www.energynewsbeat.com, the best place for all your energy and oil and gas news. Stu and the team do a tremendous job making sure that website stays up to speed. Everything you need to know to be the tip of the spear when it comes to the energy and the oil and gas business. Go ahead and hit that description below. All the links to the timestamps, links to the articles, links to our Substack, theenergynewsbeat.substack.com. A great resource and one of the best ways to support the show if you feel so inclined. Go ahead and sign up for a paid subscription. It's a great way to allow us to keep coming out and doing cool things like this and bring you great content specifically from the field. We love this stuff. As always, guys, Reese Energy Consulting, they helped bring this show to us today. We appreciate everybody over there. You've got a couple podcasts coming out with Steve here soon.
We're going to be interviewing Steve Reese as well as Mark Stansberry in Oklahoma City. And this is going to be a first of a bunch of executive interviews with Steve Reese. We are excited about it.
It'll be great. I'm going on Mark Stansberry's podcast in a month or so. So that'll be great to get that going. We love collaborating with other podcasters. But guys, Reese Energy Consulting, if you're in the LNG space, if you're in the natural gas space, if you're in the upstream space, give them a call. Like I said, if you're in the upstream space and you're not working with an oil and gas marketing, call them up. They're going to get you much more on your contracts. If you're in the LNG space, trying to get a contract approved, it's necessary to call them. So very much appreciate and support Reese Energy Consulting. Go ahead and hit the description below to figure out how to get in contact with them. And finally, if you want to come out here to the field and become Billy Bob Thornton with a, cowboy hat not included though, we have great resources on our website, investinoil.energynewsbeat.com. We'll talk about all the ways you can get into oil and gas. We've got a great ebook written by one of our partners, Paul Graham, that kind of walks you through all the different types of oil and gas investments you can do as a private citizen. It also walks through some of the benefits, such as portfolio diversification, the huge tax benefits, never too early to start thinking about 2025 taxes, and finally, the ability to come out here and be Billy Bob Thornton from Landman. So that's investinoil.energynewsbeat.com. I mean, Stu, markets, as we jump into it, kind of got hammered today. S&P 500 was down about 1.3 percentage point. NASDAQ down 2 full percentage points. 2 and 10-year yields basically flat. The 2-year actually dropped a 1/10 of a percentage point. 10-year yields jumped about 0.6 of a percentage point. Dollar index up about 0.4 of a percentage point. Bitcoin down about 1.5 percentage points, still at 86,100 though. Crude oil kind of up all over the place. We were up over 70.20, falling back down a little bit down to 69.70, but that's still up about 70 cents day over day, or about 1.3 percentage points. Brent oil is actually down about 0.5 percentage point, 73.42. Natural gas basically flat, up 0.2 of a percentage point, $3.85. And our XOP, which is our E&P securities contract, was actually up about 0.6 of a percentage point, 133.34. I mean, a couple interesting things that we saw, Stu, mainly from the EIA Crude Oil Inventory report. That went ahead and dropped a let me pull up the actual number here, 3.3 million barrel draw as expected. Yesterday, we saw about a 4.9 million barrel estimate by the API Crude Oil Inventory. So it comes in a little under expectations, but though Reuters did expect, good friends over at Reuters, they expected 956,000 barrel draw. So you did beat that expectation there. I think the big thing that we're seeing is its supply side is sort of, the weakness or theoretical weakness on the supply side, I think, is drawing prices up. We did see 70, so that's always brings a smile to people's faces. There's a lot of re-underwriting that needs to get done if $70 barrel doesn't necessarily hold out. The quote here from John Kilcliffe: "There is concern in the market about touching that oil, so we could lose that supply." Remember, Trump on Monday signed an executive order authorizing a blanket 25% tariff on imports from any countries that buy Venezuelan crude oil and liquid fuels.
Oops.
Yeah. So, well, all right, guys. It's been a long week. We're excited to come out here from the field. You're actually first time here in this field. I mean, you've been out to the oil field a bunch, but this is one of our investments. This is one of your first time.
It is, and it's beautiful. And only in Texas will you see wind farms, and will you see tanks, and an existing one, and we got 3 more wells.
But it's truly the American energy system at play here. I mean, because on a windy day like this, there's a use for wind farms.
That
We know
is.
there's a big use for offshore wind farms, not
Right.
just for wind, but for population control. I mean,
Okay.
whale population control.
Right. All right. With that, like, subscribe, share. Go to the Energy Newsbeat, Substack.com or EnergyNewsbeat.co. Thank you.
He cut me off real quick, guys. With that, we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Before we go, who do we got on Friday?
I don't know, but I'll have one out.
Okay,
So-
we'll have somebody out on Friday. You'll hear the weekly recap coming out on Saturday. We'll take Sunday off, and we'll be back in the chair on Monday. Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you Monday.
Cool.